Sometimes there are football games so electric, so exciting that you feel like if you miss even one play, you're going to miss a highlight reel moment, Marshall.
And sometimes, Jake, there are football games like the Monday Night Football matchup against the Green Bay Packers. We're going to recap a snooze fest for the love of Broad Street.
Street, welcome back to the show. I'm Jake. That's Marshall. I predicted this game would be a defensive slugfest, Marshall, but even I overestimated the scoreline. Eagles win 10-7. That's an NFL score. 10-7. Not baseball, football. Against a fellow NFC Championship hopeful. Marshall, just 2 touchdowns total in 60 minutes of football. So tell me, did you manage to stay awake the whole time?
I did, but honestly, it just felt like I didn't need to at times during this game. The first half especially, to end 0-0, how do we make it through an entire half of football, Jake, without a single point scored?
Not a field goal, nothing.
Not even a field goal.
Jeez.
And it started really from that first drive. The Eagles got some momentum. They start with some good mix of run and pass, a few little throws, one to A.J. Brown, who we'll get to later. And after that, it kind of just plateaued and fell off a cliff for him. But they get down the field on a 3rd and 8. Jaelen has an opportunity to convert for a first down with, I thought, a pretty well-timed quarterback draw, something we really haven't seen from the Eagles in a while.
Right.
He gets that first down, and then honestly, a great play by the Eagles.
Punch.
Yeah, by the Packers, I should say, defensive back to get that ball on the ground. You really can't fault Jaelen for that turnover. That's just a great, I think, individual play. There's not much more he could be doing holding that ball going to the ground. And you're thinking, okay, they're already in field goal range here. At least we're gonna. I think if that happened at the 14-yard line, at least we're gonna get 3 points out of it. And then turnover, nobody scores for the rest of the half. I'm torn, honestly, Jake, about this game because you get the W, you advance to 7-2. You're still the first seed in the conference here, but the offense is just so stagnant for the majority of this game. Jake, what were your thoughts?
Well, no, so that's kind of what I was going to ask you was like, is it our offense being inept, or was it a defensive masterpiece by the Packers? I have the same question for the flip side. Like, was our defense that good? I hope it is. I hope our defense is just that locked down, or is it just like maybe these Packers aren't as good as everybody thought? You know, like they just lost to the Panthers in a low-scoring game. I don't know if you saw Micah Parsons screaming on Twitter that, like, you know, the only time this team loses is when the offense can't score more than 17 points, which, you know, in an NFL game, especially if you're a playoff contender, you got to think that's a routine thing. Although I say that having scored 10 points and having one of the best records in football. So which is it, Marshall? Was it a defensive masterclass or just an offensive, you know, ineptitude?
I think so. We'll look at it from 2 different standpoints. Number one, I don't think that the Packers are as good as we think they are. I mean, going back to last week, you mentioned it, the Panthers game. I didn't see much out of that offense, and I think there's been questions about Jordan Love, even dating back to last year. Can he do it? Can he be that big game quarterback? I don't think to this point he's proven he can be, and we saw it again in this game. You know, some missed throws. It seemed like the pressure was getting to him, and his pocket presence was not there. He was rushing things. You know, he was pressured on 40% of his dropbacks in this game. That's a ridiculous amount that for a quarterback who's not used to being sacked that often. But I think the thing that they missed in this game was those wide receivers on the outside. Christian Watson was in this game, but a number that were out, and then of course Tucker Kraft not being in this game as well. This offense was really just trying to rely on Josh Jacobs to get it through this slump, and he almost did, honestly, in a few points in this game. He was starting to pick it up a little bit. I don't think that the Eagles' defense is a bad unit. I think they are, especially now, really ramping up their level of play, adding a Jaelen Phillips to the lineup, adding back a Brandon Graham, adding back a Nolan Smith, And then I think the biggest add, Jake, to this point in the last few weeks has been to Kobe Dean. You can't understate his presence on the field, what he's meant to the run game, especially. And then he has that big sack. We talk about this half getting to 0-0. The only reason that happens is because he has that big sack, forces a fumble from Jordan Love, and then their new acquisition, Jaelen Phillips, jumps on the ball. That was another big play in this game, kind of even the turnover battle. And then it's 0-0 going into the second half, although I would have liked to see the Eagles be more aggressive going into the half. We can talk about the offense as
Right.
well here. I think switching over to the Eagles, when it comes to the offense, they're just not doing enough. Honestly, it just feels like
Right.
there are two or three plays in the game where it's big chunk, okay, perfect. You get that back-to-back plays. Barkley with a 40-plus yard catch and run, really great spin move to move the chains and then get us down the field. And then the next play, all right, we're gonna pump fake to AJ Brown on the outside, and then it's down the seam to Devontae Smith for a touchdown. Where is that the rest of the game? Like there were no other big shot plays until the very end, which I will talk about in a moment, but was the worst time to be doing that, Jake.
Yeah, one of the things that really bothers me is like I get the sense that when we pop big plays, it's never like the play call, right? It's a moment of brilliance from one of our superstars.
Yeah,
We're not seeing what we had in the old Kellen Moore days where you're like, that run scheme was perfect. Look
right,
at that was the perfect call for that moment. No, like the Saquon Barkley play was hitting him in the flat and watching an amazing football player be
right.
amazing. That was not like Kevin Patullo drew up like the perfect play here.
Yeah,
Nor was that maybe that pump fake was part of the play, but like the ball wasn't particularly well thrown. It was Devontae Smith just
being
being
able
a
to go up.
superstar,
Yeah,
right? And that's what's really like it's bothering me about like this little winning run we're on. There's not like a sustainability to it. It just feels like we're getting. It's not luck. Listen, like Saquon Barkley being incredible is not luck,
no,
but you can't just assume that he's going to get 40 yards every time we dump it out in the flat. You know
right.
what I mean? That's why I think we score 10 points. And to the original question, that's why I'm a little concerned about it being offensive incompetence for us.
Hmm.
Um, incompetence, I guess, is a harsh word for Green Bay with all those pieces missing, like we talked about. However, I mean, we got to give it up for Jaelen Phillips in this pass rush. I mean, they're missing targets for sure, but they're not
Yeah,
really missing a ton of O linemen. And this is the same unit pretty much, minus Jaelen Phillips and a couple snaps from Brandon Graham. That was inept all at the beginning of this year, and then all of a
yeah,
sudden, look at him coming. I mean, 40%. That reminded me of 2017-18, Marshall, when it
absolutely.
just felt like there was a green jersey in the backfield every single play.
Yeah.
And you see what it does. Jordan Love is not a bad quarterback, ladies and gentlemen, but it's hard to be a good quarterback when there is just pressure in your face like every other play. And you
Right.
can't move the ball like that.
Right. And when you're seeing all of these guys in place now, you didn't mention, talk about Nolan Smith coming back. I thought that was an important part
Man,
of
that's
this
a big
game as
one too.
well. But when you see the other players stepping up on those edge plays, Jaelen Phillips, you could talk all night about him. The forced fumble, something that I think he should have gotten credit for that forced fumble. He does get a
Right.
recovery in this game. They ended up giving that forced fumble to Blankenship, but he basically blew that play up to force that fumble,
Right.
and then the outside, he's setting the edge every play. He's coming for the quarterback. That elevates the play of the other guys in this lineup. Hunt had one of his best games of the season and has been
Yeah.
coming on in the last few weeks. That, having Brandon Graham out there on a few snaps, having Nolan Smith back out there on a few, it's like now they have the true 2017, 2018 style rotation at edge, rotation like we had last year with Josh Sweat and the defensive line rotation with Milton Williams and some other pieces that we had lost. It feels like, man, okay, no longer is Josh Uche getting edge rush plays for this team, or
Yeah,
Patrick
right.
Johnson's not going to be on the field. Like those guys that Ojulari, I think, could come back and make some contribution plays down the stretch here. But no longer are we looking at guys on the outside saying, oh, they really haven't done it before. We're not sure. It's these are proven talents, and I think the play of Jaelen Phillips. I mean, a third rounder for that guy. I still don't know how nobody else decided. Let's go at least take a flyer on this guy.
Right. It is a rental. I mean, the dude's probably going to get paid a nice contract at the end of this year, especially if he keeps playing like that. But
Yeah,
if he helps us win a second Super Bowl, who cares?
right.
Whatever.
Well worth
Um,
it.
However, if we're talking about Super Bowls, I think we got to talk about Coach Nick Sirianni and a little bit of a questionable decision from him at the end of this game, Marshall. It was 33 seconds left. We're up three. We're on the Packers' 35-yard line. So I will give him, it's not like, easy field goal range,
No, especially with the
but
wind.
right, right. I really don't blame him for not kicking it there,
No.
especially because you kick that and it's still only a 6-point game. A touchdown still wins it
Yeah.
for them. So
Yeah.
I don't necessarily mind not kicking a field goal, but to A, not punt, and to B, run such a low percentage play. What do you think he was thinking here, Marshall? Because I can't square that circle.
So the Eagles have had success on certain shot plays in moments in the past, and some of them have gone. We think back to the Vikings game. That was a play, kind of to wrap it up. A play down the sideline to AJ Brown, big first down. Game's pretty much over. And then you get the same thing going back to last year against the Browns, I believe, when the Eagles had another shot play down the field. Most of those, though, have come in the first half and not in a situation where you are really in a pressure spot where a touchdown would lose you the game. Just with 33 seconds left on the clock, the ability to, if you pin them inside the 10 on that play, if you punt the ball away, pin them inside the 10, let's say 8 seconds run off of the clock in that 30, so you're from 33 and now you're down to 25 seconds and 90 yards. I'll take that every single day. No
Right.
timeouts for the Packers. That's effectively a W. The fact that the Packers were able to get a field goal attempt, although I don't know why the kicker was allowed to take a free
Yeah.
kick, but that showed you that he wasn't going to have that range. It was an awful field goal attempt at the end. But he should not have even gotten to that point on the field. The Eagles should
Yeah.
not have put themselves in that situation. I think part of this, Jake, is the frustration that AJ Brown is experiencing. The Eagles kind of feeling guilty. It's Sirianni or whoever's playing, calling the plays back there, feeling guilty that we're not getting AJ the ball. I mean, 3 targets and this is one of them. On a
Yeah.
4th and 6 with 33 seconds to go in the game, how are you not getting your best wide receiver involved? I still don't understand how that's happening. But it felt like, oh, okay, well, this is our last ditch effort to get AJ the ball. Let's give it a go, see if he can come up with it. I would have liked
Marshall,
to see a better ball there too, for sure.
correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think a lot of teams have won Super Bowls calling plays because they feel bad for guys.
No,
You know what I mean?
no,
It's just,
absolutely not. What were you
uh,
thinking? What were you thinking when the Eagles lined up for 4th and 6? Because when they lined up, I'm thinking, okay, they're just going to try to draw them off,
they're
and then
gonna
they're
do
going to go for a
an
tush
offside
push.
thing. That's
Yeah,
what I thought was happening there is they were gonna try and draw them offsides. They were going to, if they get it, great, they go for the tush push. But if not, what I thought they were doing was backing up 5 yards to give Braden Mann a little more room to
okay,
punt.
yeah. Which they
Because
did in previous drive, I think.
right.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking was
Mhm.
happening, and I was like, oh, this makes a ton of sense. And then they snapped the ball, and I went, oh, what are you doing, Nicky?
I know. And
Don't
Nick,
do this to me.
he didn't have a good explanation, Jake, as to why he did it. He was talking about the point spread and everything. He was talking about, hey, a touchdown will win it for you no matter what here, even
Yeah,
if we kick the field goal. But he didn't. I mean, he didn't even acknowledge the possibility of punting the football.
yeah. And to me, like, okay, the worst. Well, I guess the worst case scenario is a block, and
Mhm.
but you could get a strip sack fumble and a return for a touchdown. Like thinking the worst case scenario is not really the greatest thing to do in this situation. But
Yeah.
the in my mind, like the worst outcome from like a normal outcome would be a touchback. That's still like 10 yards of field position from that point, maybe a
Right.
little little more, a little less. But you also burn what, 8 seconds
Yeah,
on
that's what I'm
that play.
saying. Yeah,
You burn the 8 seconds and you gain 10, 15 yards of field position. I take that.
yeah.
I
Still,
don't know.
it's better than a shot play that risks an interception and then gives you nothing.
This is one of the things I was one of the advocates to get Doug Peterson out when
Hmm.
that happened. And one of the main reasons in my mind was because he was reckless in these types of decisions.
Yeah,
And I don't know, I was having PTSD from the Doug Peterson not Super Bowl days. When
right.
he's going for it on 4th and 8 on
Yeah,
the 50. And I'm like,
yeah,
what are you doing?
yeah,
That is exactly the feeling that I had there when I'm going, you could make five better choices than the one you're making, and you're making this one.
yeah. Well, let's
And
not start the fire Nick Sirianni this year.
no, I'm not trying to fire Nick. I'm just saying, like, that's the start of a trend
Yeah,
that I really hope isn't a trend. You know what I mean? Like, don't keep doing that, Nick. Learn from everyone saying, "What the heck are you doing?" And don't do that anymore. Because Doug didn't get that message. That's what I was trying to say. Is that,
yeah.
like, those red flags were there for Doug Peterson in his after Super Bowl year, and he just didn't listen to him. And I'm just saying, Nick, please don't do that because I love you and I want you to stick around.
Yeah. Jake,
One,
I
yeah,
want sorry. I want to talk about this for a second longer here. This play call, right? It comes at a moment where the Eagles are it's a kind of game deciding play in essence, right? You get a first down, the game's over. Do you think that there's any possibility? I've seen this online floating around that this was not a play call that Nick Sirianni actually dialed up or okayed,
ooh,
and that it was actually Jaelen and AJ kind of going rogue and saying, you know what, we're just going to ball and go right now for a
I,
shot play.
I hope that isn't the case because that would just show a complete lack of faith in your coaching staff, and it's really like disrespect.
Hmm.
Um, I really hope I didn't see that, but man, I hope that isn't the case because you know, especially Nick Sirianni, he doesn't call the offense, he doesn't call the defense. He's his entire job is making those decisions.
Yeah,
And if the players are going, no, we're not listening to him. Yikes.
right.
Yikes, ladies and gentlemen. That would be not great. I really hope that's not the case. What do you think? Is this something you think might be the case?
So I know that there have been times where Jalen will audible in the huddle or audible at the line to something, the little trigger finger to
Right.
Brown on the outside. That seems entirely different to me than making a decision. If it's happening the flow of the game, Jalen
Right.
Jalen needs a little bit of time and a little bit of trust from the coaching staff to be able to be like, okay, I see this at the line. I'm going to exploit that. We're going to AJ here, slant route, whatever it is, hit him. But when it's a
But
fourth
in
and
that
six,
spot, no.
yeah, I know. I know.
Ugh,
I hope it's not the case either. But
uh,
again, Jake, I think it goes back to this level of frustration from AJ Brown. We saw him talking to his streamer and playing video games saying the streamer's asking him, "Hey, how you doing?" He's like, "Oh, yeah, my family's good, but everything else sucks. Like I'm not
yes.
I'm not in a good way." Like saying, yeah, what do you mean? Like, of course I'm not doing well. Like, don't sugarcoat. And I understand it from a guy who a couple years ago was, topping out at 1,400 plus yards and 6, 7, 8 touchdowns, and now he is, kind of a middling wide receiver when it comes to statistics alone.
Numbers. Yeah.
Yes, to statistics alone, I still think he has the ability, but to get 3 targets in a game that is against an NFC opponent that you could see down the road in the playoffs, a team that you saw last year, a team that you are needing a big victory against. He gets the ball 3 times. How can you not be upset if you're AJ Brown out there?
Yeah. I mean, my answer, my retort is we're 7-2.
I know.
Like I just feel like I say this a lot. All good wide receivers are divas. I feel like that's just like a rule, and I don't know why it's especially wideouts because it's not like every star running back's a diva, but
Mhm.
every star wide receiver is a diva. However, I just it troubles me how like mopey he's being when we're 7-2. If we were 2-7, I'd say okay, be mopey.
Yeah.
But like, what happened to the like, I don't care, we got the win kind of mentality? Is that gone? Because he doesn't seem to have it anymore. He
He's
had it at one point. When he was
yeah.
reading his self-help books. This is what I'm trying to
Bring it
say,
back.
Marshall.
Bring it on back.
Bring back reading AJ Brown. Like he was the best AJ Brown. He was sitting there, he was on chapter 5 and his head was down and he was in the game and then he stops reading on the sideline and then it's just mope. It's mopey.
Yeah.
And I don't like it.
No.
I don't like it. I want to ask you something that verges on conspiracy. Jair Alexander
Yeah. What's
has
going on here?
stepped away from football.
Yeah.
And listen, being a professional athlete has got to just be debilitating on your mental health. You are expected to
Yeah.
perform every second of every day.
Not to mention physical health, Jake.
Yeah, well, right. Yeah, right. Well, physical health goes without saying, but like just the strain and the anxiety and the stress that you got to be under at all times.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it's like to cope with all that. And I am not faulting the player for stepping away at all.
No.
I question that he's been in our building after we gave up a better draft pick for him for like 3 days.
And
And
he's
he
done.
decides we have to step away from football. I would like to have a word with the Ravens and say, did you see this coming? Because this feels shady. I don't know about you. I think it's a little shady, Marshall.
And Jake, we talked about this previously because Zadarius Smith just suddenly retired from this league after
Right.
joining the Eagles. I don't know if he saw something that he thought, oh man, there's something going, sour in this locker room, or if the Eagles are asking too much of these veteran players, or what the culture is
Yeah.
that's going on in there. But like, yeah, how do you bring in a guy and not scout him, I guess, well enough, or get the skinny on him to be able to say
Right.
confidently he's going to be able to perform at some level? I mean, I we asked about this last week. You asked me for a grade. I said C plus because I just didn't know what he was going to give us. Clearly, he's given us
Yeah.
nothing. I don't know. To me, watching that press conference, it was so strange because he's talking about, hey, I'm from Philly, and I've got all these connections, and I'm about to go play my old team, the team that I've really established
Right.
myself in this league with, and I'm excited to go back to Lambeau. And then all of a sudden, poof, Saturday comes around, guys aren't
Gone.
traveling with the team. Tuesday comes around, and I'm stepping away from the league. Really surprising, really strange, but I don't know. Maybe there's something else going on with him because it kind of almost to me looked like maybe there was like he had like kind of a glazed over look. I'm not saying, I'm not accusing him of anything, but it's just kind of like he wasn't all there, it felt like, in that press
Yeah.
conference. I wish him the best though. I mean, I'm glad that he's making this decision for himself. If his heart's not in it, if he doesn't have his mental right, he doesn't want to be on the football field. That's
Right.
what's best for him is what's best for the Eagles, because if he's not going to be performing at a top level, then okay, we're going to put Keely Ringo out there. We're going to put a Dory Jackson out there. We're going to figure out what we have in Michael Carter, maybe move Cooper to the outside.
Right. I again, this is no fault on Jair Alexander.
No.
I wish him the best too. I'm mad at someone. I just don't know who. I don't know if I'm mad at the Ravens for like knowing this was going to happen and
Right.
fleecing us for that pick, or is it like you said, which I didn't consider until right now, and now I'm mad at maybe us
Hmm.
that maybe we didn't do our due diligence. He was a healthy scratch a bunch of times.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, maybe the writing was on the wall there and they
Right.
just didn't do their due diligence. Suffice it to say, I'm mad at someone, which means I guess, am the perfect Philadelphia sports fan because I mean that's
He
at
did
the
it.
at the end of the day, that really is what it takes to be a Philadelphia sports fan.
Yes.
We are 7-2, and I'm mad.
You have to be mad
So
about something.
like AJ Brown's just a Philly sports fan. He's not a
Yeah.
player. He's
Yeah, I
just a
know.
fan, and he's just mad. Ugh, I
Constantly.
can't believe we're 7-2, and I'm ticked.
7-2, top of the NFC, and I just hate everything about
I'm
this
just
town.
angry, and I'm gonna, just gonna swear at everyone and gonna shake my fist out the car. So, Marshall, we got the matchups for us are just not getting any easier.
No.
the Lions come to town next week,
Hmm.
Sunday Night Football, another primetime game.
I'm excited. I'm honestly excited about this one.
I feel like it's got the potential to be like the exact opposite of this game, which is like their offense scores for fun,
Yeah.
but their defense doesn't really do a great job of stopping anyone.
Hmm.
The debilitated Commanders put 20 plus up on them. Um,
Right.
so
Marcus Mariota, Eagles Super Bowl champion Marcus
and no
Mariota.
Terry McLaurin, no Austin Eckler, like that whole team's
Yeah.
just debilitated, and they still put 20 plus up. And it's not the first time teams have put up gaudy numbers on them. You just mentioned probably my biggest concern, which is Amon-Ra St. Brown is scary. My
Absolutely.
biggest concern is actually Jamison Williams because I'm
Mm.
presuming Quinyon goes on Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah.
That's what it should happen in my eyes.
Right.
But now you're looking around going, oh, geez, like, is Dory Jackson covering Jamison Williams?
I
Marshall,
know.
that could get really ugly
Hmm.
really, really quick. What do
Yeah.
you think?
So I thought that actually he was not a liability against the Packers. Second the second corner spot has just been the biggest question mark all season,
Yeah.
I think.
Just like cover my eyes.
Outside of the defensive edge rusher situation, which has been up and down. Honestly, it wasn't that bad with Zadarius Smith. And then it took a real nosedive after Zadarius and Nolan Smith went down. So we had no
Right.
Smiths. And we were
We
Smithless.
went 2 Smiths to 0.
Yeah.
It was the biggest failing of this entire season. We lost our Smiths.
At least on defense, because we still had Devontae on the other side, and he was helping us out.
True.
So,
True.
I'm definitely scared of the wide receiver core for this team. And Goff, he's playing really great year, 117 rating,
Yeah.
2,235 yards. He's
Unreal.
only 3 picks, 20 passing touchdowns. Yeah, he's having a heck of a year as he has in the past few. Again, I don't think that he was that bad in the previous game, but he wasn't going up against the competition that he's about to see. So
Right.
I'm expecting a lot of safety help over the top. I'm expecting Reed Blankenship to be moving to that side or Makuba to be moving to that side. I'm expecting maybe let's single and go single coverage with DeJean on Williams in the slot because he plays out of the slot as well. You could see that matchup loom large in this game, and then you can't forget the tight end spot for this team either.
Oh, Laporta, yeah.
Laporta's got almost 500 yards receiving. I mean, you look at the top three, it's 64 catches for St. Brown, 40 catches for Laporta, 27 for Jamison Williams. And then Jahmyr Gibbs out of the backfield with 32
and
catches.
Montgomery, I mean, they have put together a Super Bowl caliber offense.
Yeah.
And I love the approach. Who cares how many points we give up? If we score 60, they won't catch us. And respect, because it's worked, they're 6-3, right? I think it's worked 6 times.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be an interesting one. The question mark for me, I think our defense will put up a fight at the very least, but how do we get that offense going, Marshall? How do we fix in 1 week a 10-point performance where this is a game you might need 35?
Exactly. More. Yeah, because you've got Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, you just talked about. They've already got a combined 1,000+ yards in this season. And Gibbs is averaging 5.4 yards a carry. That is ridiculous. 5.4 yards a carry. I think the run defense is going to be really important for the Eagles. It was really a lot better. I thought Josh Jacobs was going to be a problem for the Eagles. Did not turn out to be that way. Jaelen Phillips being in there really helped. But you're right. The offense needs to show up and needs to show up in a big way. We need a performance like we saw against the Giants, like we saw against the Vikings, a kind of a combination of the two. Get the passing offense going, get the rushing offense going a little bit. I, again, think that there's some questions on this line, Jake, that it just, again, I'm not sure if it's just, the age factor. We saw Lane go out last week.
That was a killer.
crazy that he was even able to come back in this game
Yeah,
and play. I mean, after
tough
getting
as nails.
literally carted out of the
Yeah,
freaking field, and then
same game.
all of a sudden he's back on the on the bench and then in the game again. I just couldn't believe that. But
Philly legend, that guy. I
so
mean, as much as Kelsey was, that's incredible.
I have no answers though, Jake. I have no answers.
Yeah,
What is the problem? Is it the line? Is it the scheme? Is it the running back? Barkley looks the same in open space. We just saw it.
right.
He looks the
Yeah,
same in
right.
open space, and he broke one against the Giants. So it's not like he doesn't have that ability. The other thing, again, we moved completely away, and maybe it was just the flow of the game. It's windy, it's cold, it's Lambeau. We're thinking we just want to hold onto this ball as long as we can. We're not going to take deep shot plays or whatever, but I don't care. You've got to keep any defense honest. And if you have a threat like Devontae Smith, if you have a threat like A.J. Brown, you better be throwing the ball up. You better be giving them
Right.
some one-on-one 50-50 ball opportunities. Jalen's thrown one pick,
Right.
Jake. One.
Yeah.
Like
That
he's
that's
not gonna
nothing.
if look, if it's not there, he has proven he will throw it away. He will put it in a spot that only his receiver can get to it, or he's gonna pull it down, he's gonna run for 5 yards. At least put those plays out there. At least be
Right.
willing to make those. I don't know. Maybe looking back at those, maybe there are some missed opportunities here. I mean, Calcaterra, he missed in this game
Right.
against the Packers. He missed
In
him
that seam, yeah.
on the seam route. But again, it just feels like they get in this mode of we're just gonna maybe we'll try for 3 yard plays. We're not gonna
Yeah.
try for 15, 20 yard pass plays. We're gonna try for some 3 yard plays, please.
Yeah,
Why?
you've heard Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata actually say this word, but like you talk about a predictable offense.
Yeah.
I mean, they had 6 tackles for loss. 6. A tackle for loss in the NFL should happen like once, maybe twice a game. They had 6. That tells me
Yeah.
they know what's coming,
Right.
and that can't happen. I mean, it just can't happen. The One of the beautiful things that Kellen Moore did in hindsight was be unpredictable.
Yeah.
And I feel like we have zero of that right now. And, maybe against the Lions, it won't kill you as much as it did in this game, but we're going to come up to a point where you're only going to be playing good defenses. And the more tape we put up where it's just the same formations and the same schemes, we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be Jake. If you want to get the offense going, which is the question here, you have to get AJ Brown involved, and you have to get him
It's a
involved
great
early.
answer.
I
Yeah.
think it's simple to get him the ball because all you have to do. He's proven it time and time again. You get him a few slant routes, great. Then you turn that slant route into a sluggo route. You
Right.
take the slant up the sideline. Now you have the defense on its heels. Now the defense has to respect you. I mean, I know that the secondary for the Lions has been good at times, but you have to get your best players the ball. We've been so good at getting Devontae the ball recently. He's been
Right.
honestly having, to me, I think his best season as a pro. The numbers might not show it, but in terms of clutch play, in terms
They're
of
huge.
he's just timely. Like some of the sideline catches, even that third down conversion in this game that was, tiptoe.
The toe tap, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Just he's playing out of his mind. He's playing out of his mind partially because everybody's doubling AJ. We're not throwing the ball at AJ. People know that we're not going to throw the ball at AJ. I don't know. Maybe the coverage will start to switch to the other side of the field, Jake, and we'll start to see AJ getting more of this.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it'll swing the other way. So with all this being said, what do you think? What's your prediction? Give me a score.
Yeah, I think this is a tough one, and I think it's going to be a close one. Like you said, the Lions are coming off of a game against the Commanders that they really put up some big points. I like the Eagles' run defense. And Nakobe, we talked about. I think he has been a really, really important factor in that. And if we can stop the run, get some pressure on Goff, like we got some pressure on Jordan Love. Jordan Love is not the most athletic when it comes to getting out of the pocket, but I think that I could say Jared Goff is even less athletic than Jordan
Yeah,
Love.
right.
If we can get to the quarterback, we can get the run game going a little bit. I like the Eagles in this one. Give me 27-21 Birds.
All right, I think it's going to be a higher scoring affair, and unfortunately, I am picking against us again, Marshall.
Mm,
I am thinking 35-31 Lions.
okay.
I hope I'm wrong,
Yeah.
but I was right last week ish. Not on the score, but on the Eagles win, but in a low scoring affair.
Okay. Okay. So
I'm pretty good at
he's trying to
I'm
take
pretty
cred
good at
for
this.
that one
I'm
time
pretty
that he
good at
gets
this.
it right.
Pretty good at this. Just saying. Just saying.
Okay, what's the rationale though? Why the loss? What is it about this team that is
Uh
insurmountable to you?
I think we're gonna be in a shootout, and I,
Okay.
I don't think we got the guns that
Oh,
like this year. Not the guns. The guns would be the players. We have those. I don't think we have the the gun maker, whatever you call
yes.
Kevin Patullo. I don't
Yes.
think the scheme's gonna be able to keep up. And that's why I'm predicting a high scoring loss.
Oh
Again, I
boy.
hope I'm wrong, ladies and gentlemen. It's just pretty
We'll
good at this
see.
stuff.
We'll
Pretty
see.
good at this
I think eight
too.
and two is right around the corner.
Yeah,
But maybe
I
the
I would
suit's right.
love it.
Maybe the suit's right.
Yeah, listen, you don't get to wear a suit if you don't know what you're talking about. Those are the rules. I don't make them.
Well, Jake, while the Eagles know exactly what's coming up in the next few weeks, the Phillies front office certainly does not have that luxury. Let's talk
Yeah,
about it.
we've had quite a few developments since we've last spoken. Most of them don't really bring any more clarity to what our lineup's going to look like next year. One good thing to note is Dombrowski had a quote nice conversation with Bryce Harper, who you may remember was not happy with some trade rumors circulating in the media a few weeks ago. We touched on that. Kind of think it was the media's fault, but whatever. On to some less good news. First, a sad Instagram post from Harrison Bader Marshall, who said 2.5 months was not nearly enough, but that's all the gods had in store. Marshall, what do you make of that? It doesn't
Yeah.
sound good. Is there
No.
any chance we could see him back?
No, this was a goodbye post, Jake, and I hate it. I hate to see it because he meant so much to this team this year. Crazy, it was only like 2.5 months. It just felt like he was,
He was
he
part of the
just
team,
he
man.
fit in so well.
He was a Philly guy.
You just forget that he was only there for a short time and he played super out of his mind. I don't think that there's a way that he comes back after making something like this on social media. And man, it pains me to see.
Yeah.
And wish him the best wherever he goes. He's been a kind of a journeyman type throughout his career. He's no stranger to this, and he might have a better contract coming to him than what the Phillies are willing or able
Right.
to pay him, Jake. But what are you
Right.
thinking?
No, that's what like I totally get that like a qualifying offer. I don't even know if he got a qualifying. Oh no, because I guess he declined the mutual option. So um I just I feel like he's ruling out the possibility that we could give him the best offer, which I don't think is off the table. I do think maybe he's not the highest priority, but he's a priority. I think he had a great season with us. He's one of us. He said the F word in his goodbye post. What's more Philly than that? I
I
was getting
know.
Chase Utley vibes. Um,
Yeah.
I think it was a little premature from him to be so final.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping maybe when I scrolled past that he would say something along the lines of like, "There's always a chance, but if not, it was a good run." And there was none of that. Maybe we're reading too much into it, but what else do we have to do? We're Phillies fans, and we
That's right.
lost. Baseball's over. There's nothing else to do but speculate, Marshall.
Jake, maybe he knows something that we don't know. And that's another
Maybe.
possibility here is that the front office is like, hey, we're going to re-sign Schwartz. Hey, we're going to re-sign JT. Hey,
Yeah,
we're going to
maybe.
re-sign, well, let's talk about him, Castellanos.
Yeah, right.
Looking less likely, I think, but
Yeah.
it,
Like, you know what? If you're
it,
gonna just give this the perfect segue, let's get into that. Because for those of you who haven't seen, another outfield update that doesn't look good for fans of Nick Castellanos in a Phillies uniform, if there are any of those left. When asked if Dombrowski had spoken with Nick, he replied, and I am quoting here, "I had a lengthy conversation with him. I think we're just kind of open minded for discussion purposes, but sometimes change of sceneries can be beneficial for people too. Give me a more damning answer.
Right. It's kind of like get the hell out of here.
Yeah,
That's basically what
right.
he's saying.
I mean, that poor Nicky. I really thought there was a chance that they just, because you're paying him anyway. Maybe they just kept him around and said, like, let's try this DH thing. Stop playing the field. You're no good at it. But I don't know, Marshall. That sounds like he's on his way out to me.
He's no good at the DH thing either this year, Jake.
Yeah,
So I don't know. Like it doesn't matter what his fielding looks like. He's stepping up to the plate and he's striking out. I mean,
right.
what do you want from him?
Yeah. So okay, with all this in mind, we're bouncing around the diamond to look at the free agent options. Let's talk right fielders, because not only is Nick there, keep in mind he is under contract, so he's not technically a free agent. Just Dombrowski kind of sounds like he's sick of him.
Just wants him to get the heck out.
Right. So, there's him potentially gone. Max Kepler is definitely a free agent. And there haven't been really any talks of bringing him back as far as I know. But, he is an option to bring back. He's 33, same age as Nick. I want to. I don't know how many of you guys buy into the WAR stat, wins above replacement. I'm a big believer in it. Nick Castellanos had a -1 WAR. That means if you just picked up any old MLB player and chucked him in for Nick Castellanos all year, we would have won another game.
Yeah,
which is pretty damning. So Max Kepler. I was a big Max Kepler critic. In comparison, his WAR was 1.6, which is like just way higher than 2 points higher.
Yeah.
Than Nick. So that's what we're leaving. 17 home runs for Nick, 18 home runs for Max Kepler. Keep in mind, those are pretty good power numbers. The average, the clutch hitting, lots of strikeouts from both of these two, something to keep in mind. But I'm going to just come out and say it, Marshall. Kyle Tucker is a free agent, and he's really good if you trust the WAR stat. 8.7. That is crazy. If you're unfamiliar with the stat, that is insane. 8.7. 22 dingers, 266 average, an elite arm in the outfield.
He's 29.
What else do you want? He's 29, sign up for 8 years or whatever. I mean, what else do you want, Marshall? He's the perfect free agent.
Yeah, I mean, going back to his time with the Astros, he's been impressive. We watched him just destroy us in the World Series.
Just wipe the floor with us, and it was sad.
It would be really nice to have him in right field for this team. Right. So my question to you, Jake, is what is a realistic price for Kyle Tucker? What is the comparison? God. How much was he making with the Cubs, first of all? And then what do we think we need based on that 8.7 WAR? I mean, 22 homers, that's not bad for a right fielder.
So I don't know the answer of what he was making with the Cubs, but I've done some research on what they think he might get. Listen to this. This is crazy. 10 years. 10 years. 350 to 460 million dollars.
Whoa.
It's a lot of money, folks.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money, especially for a team that's already paying a lot of money to Bryce Harper. Keep in mind, Bryce Harper, I think, was 330 million over 10 years, I think. And we're looking at 10 years, 350. Like, that's the low end of the projection.
That's crazy.
There's two ways to look at this, Marshall. One way you can look at it and say, wow, that's not feasible and you should move on. But the other way you can look at this is, wow, Bryce Harper was a steal.
Yeah, that's true.
How about it? I'm sad to say I'm only joking. It's a lot of money. And it's not a guy that you can feasibly get if you bring back Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah.
Maybe if you bring back Kyle Schwarber or not and or
or JT.
JT,
Yeah.
which is scary. I mean, that's a scary thought. Um, or Ranger. I mean, like you got Ranger Suarez kicking around out there too. You got to pay, hopefully. Um, it's just Marshall. Do you think he's good enough, like, to make this like your only move, essentially? Because that would be the trade off. He'd be the only guy that you get.
Yeah.
Is he worth it?
I just I don't see that being a good option just from a uh, long-term commitment standpoint.
Right.
Even at 29, I mean, I don't know. That's not super old for this league, but at the back end of this contract, let's say he's gonna have his, you know, you said 300, so what, 30 plus mil a year? You're gonna be paying a guy 30 plus
Yeah,
mil a year
between
as
35
37
and
and 39.
46 million a year. Now, I get, they could finagle that. Like, with Bryce Harper, it was like an ascending thing.
Uh-huh.
Shohei Ohtani's completely deferred. He makes like 2 million a year, 2 million a year, 2 million a year, and then it goes whoosh, like goes way up. So like you could
Yeah.
you could play games like that, but at the end of the day, $460 million. That's a lot of money, kids.
Yeah, yeah. So I
That's a
mean,
lot of money.
but you're going to end up potentially paying a guy who's going to be 36, 37, 38, 39, $46 million a year.
Right.
That's kind of the way you got to think about this. And is he going to be
Right.
producing at those during those seasons and worth it at that time? Or are you going to
Yeah.
be trying to saddle him in the DH role? Like, I don't know. I
And
guess you have to give him a good contract and then he can work it out in the future. But
right. I asked these questions when we signed Bryce, and I was pretty much like he's worth it. You know what I mean?
mhm.
I have a little hesitation about Tucker. I
Yeah,
don't know about you, but like it's like, do I think Kyle Tucker is going to be this effective when he's 36? And I don't know. I really don't know.
it's hard to tell.
Um, especially like, for Harper, they were like, okay, we're gonna keep this guy a long time. Let's make a longevity move, put him at first base, extend that lifespan as a career player. And you, there's only one first base. You
Yeah.
can't do that with everybody. So like let's say I don't want to think like this, Marshall. Let's say he's out of the picture.
Okay.
The step below is, in my mind, Mike Yastrzemski. And it's not a big step. This is a good player. He's like Kyle Tucker's elite. Yastrzemski's like really good.
Yeah.
He's older, which is not great. He's 35 years old, but I mean, 17 dingers. He was with the Giants, moved to the Royals at the deadline. Um, a fantastic arm, like all pro arm. Uh, is this good enough for you? Is this like the kind of move that you think is good enough to get us to that next level? Signing Yastrzemski. Obviously, Kyle Tucker would do that, but you'd have to give up a lot. You could foreseeably get Yastrzemski and still bring back your JTs and your Suarez's potentially.
Right. Man, I don't know. This is such a tough position to be in, because you've got all these guys that are on on the cusp of potentially leaving this organization. We just
Mm,
talked about Bader, you talked about Castellanos. What does your lineup look like when you start to take these guys out of it? Um, I I like what I like what Kepler brought, and I thought that he was serviceable. Yastrzemski to me, it's a bigger name, and I think better power. At 35, though, you start to worry about the drop off coming.
right.
I wouldn't want to do it for more than the 2 year deal, 3 year deal, maybe.
Yeah.
Um,
Even three's pushing it in my
yeah,
mind, honestly.
and
Like,
he might want a third just to give him some insurance.
well, maybe just be able to retire with
Yeah,
whatever team he made. Let's make one more deal and stay there. I would
right.
totally understand that, but I think like as a team, you got to push back and be like, "Hey, listen, bud, we're trying to win something here."
I don't think he's a
Um,
game-changing player, though, Jake, to your question. I don't think that it's going to make this franchise more ready for a world championship
mhm,
if you're also losing the likes of Bader, the likes of Castellanos, and
right,
the likes of Kepler. I mean, you're really trying to look at a complete outfield overhaul, um, and and then Schwartz. I mean, it's just
right.
whatever production you were getting from him. you're going to have to try to replace. And
Right.
Schwarber was winning you games single-handedly with 55 homers.
Yeah.
Mike Yastrzemski is not going to come back in, not going to come into Philly and make that big of a dent
Right.
in that loss if you're going to lose Schwarber. But if you're
Right.
going to try to keep him, maybe he's the budget option of
Yeah,
those.
right. Well, so you want to talk about budget options, Marshall? I got more for you.
Oh, we
I
love
got
budget
lots.
options.
I got lots of bargain basement deals, baby. Because that's the kind of I like the way I see this going is you bring back JT, maybe you get Schwarbs, and then this is like I don't even think you can afford Yastrzemski at that point. Like now
No.
you're looking at like these guys that we're going to talk about now. Let's do this first group here: Starling Marte, Randall Grichuk, Lane Thomas. I kind of group these together because they're all like similar in terms of like what you're gonna get out of them,
Hmm.
which is you're gonna like between like 230 and 260 probably with like a couple of home runs that will be nice, like less than 10. Um, Keep in mind, Starling Marte is 37. He's gonna need a walker soon. The good news is that's probably a 1 year deal, maybe two.
Yeah.
Um, Problem, he was mostly a DH. Uh, does that impact? I don't know. It depends with Schwarber. It depends on whether he can still get it done in the outfield. Who knows?
Yeah.
Randall Grichuk and Lane Thomas are other stories, though. They add to your defense. Um, both guys have played center routinely. Grichuk has lost a step and really doesn't play center anymore. Lane Thomas, I would be fine seeing in center. Like I feel like he could do it right now. Elite speed, um, elite arm, really, really solid defensively. Um, are any of these jumping out at you as like, hey, maybe that's because these are guys that you're probably going to get pretty decently cheap.
Yeah. I mean, compared to the production that you got from Nick and from Kepler, this league is so much about home runs, and none of these
Right,
guys are sniffing the amount of homers that either of
right,
those two gave you. Um, I'm like the one that you would think compared to previous years when we did not have good defense, especially in right field with Nick being out there, the one you'd think, oh, maybe we take him in terms of age and in terms of the defensive ability is Lane Thomas. But
right.
I do have concerns about his bat. I do have concerns about him slumping for
Yeah,
sure.
I wonder if maybe you know, I you take Lane Thomas, you put him in center maybe because Marsh
Hmm.
isn't like an elite center fielder, and
Right.
you keep Marsh in right, and then you're going, oh, you know, like okay,
That's not that
because
bad.
Marsh kind of has more of like the corner outfield like production,
Hmm.
um, closer anyway, not like an elite corner outfielder, but you know, in terms of he's got a little more pop, he's got a little more um of the average,
Hmm.
maybe that's an option. But if you don't like those, Marshall, let's talk about some flyers. Don't we love?
Yeah.
We're from Philly. We love a flyer.
Let's go.
All right, Jason Hayward, Austin Slater, Hunter Renfroe.
I almost forgot
These
Jason
are
Hayward was even in the
yeah,
league at this
because he
point.
wasn't. He was in AAA, baby. I was dumpster diving for these guys. Listen, these are three dudes that are listen. They're not going to win you ball games by themselves, but these are veteran players
Hmm.
that know what it takes to win. They've been on playoff teams, which I like. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
think we
important.
talk about that enough, right? Like when you
Definitely
bring a
important.
guy in who's been there, done that, even if he's not playing, like he helps the locker room. Hayward obviously was an elite player. He's a career 255 hitter. Now, if you thought Castellanos was bad in the outfield,
Get
Hayward will
ready.
show you a thing or two. Yeah, like
Get ready.
he's a little rough and tumble out there. But like, you know, he gets DFA last year after hitting 176 over like 30 something games. Can he make a comeback? I honestly think he could. Like if you just made him your DH and just said, you only got to hit. Don't worry about the fielding thing. You're awful at it. Just hit the ball. I think he might be able to do it. Um, Hunter Renfroe, even worse. All right, 182, zero dingers with the Royals. He got DFA'd as well. he's more of like a prototypical corner outfielder, like doesn't really hit for average, but he has the power.
Hmm.
He averages 19 home runs a year. He didn't do that last year, obviously.
Yeah.
But he's gonna be dirt slow.
Yeah.
He's got a good arm, but like I don't know. He'd be a real flyer. The one I think is the least amount of a flyer would be Austin Slater. You saw the Yankees go out and get him. I think he can bring something to the ball club.
Hmm.
He should be. I'm not his agent, but he should be cheap. I'm thinking, above average speed, above average arm. Not the best at the plate, but he's cheap. That's what you
Yeah.
get when you don't pay. What do you
Right.
think?
Yeah. I mean, if you're going the budget route with the idea of, hey, let's make sure that we can have enough to keep Schwartz, to keep JT, or at least keep one of them,
Right.
then Slater's got to be your guy. I think it's either, to me, on this list, it's either Lane Thomas or it's Slater,
Okay.
of the two. And again, you're not replacing that bat. It's just
Right.
it's impossible to replace that bat. You're going to have to either change your offensive philosophy a little bit, or start kind of getting some more speed on the base paths. I think something we need
Well,
anyway.
if we give up our beer league softball moniker,
Hmm.
then that might be one thing. If there is a way to win in this league with speed and defense. There is
Yeah.
a way. It's just nobody does it.
No.
So we were kind of the problem with that. We went, okay, you know what we're gonna get? We're gonna get Schwarber and we're gonna get Nick Castellanos, two guys that can't play defense and play the same position, and we'll make one of them DH and the other one will just suffer.
Right.
So maybe this would be the start of a backtrack on that. Let's get some guys that can actually play defense out there and cover some grass. Um,
Take me to the
on that,
minors, Jake, please.
yeah, right. On that note, we got guys down there. We talked about Yohan Rojas and Justin Crawford with our center field discussion. My thinking is the same with Lane Thomas. You bring those two up, stick them in center, move Marsh out to the right field. Bob's your uncle. However, we didn't talk about Gabriel Rincones Jr., 24 years old. Okay.
Okay.
He's a little baby, 24.
He's just a boy.
He's just a wee boy. He doesn't really hit for average. That's fine. Corner outfielders don't really hit for average in the MLB anymore. He's got 18 home runs. That's
Hey,
pretty good production. That's Nicholas Castellanos' production.
there you go.
Better defender. He's I've seen this guy play live. He's not like really fast. He's not Yohan Rojas fast. But he stole 55 bases in 2 seasons. 55.
He's got the
I don't
timing
know.
down.
Yeah, it's instinct or reflex, or I
Yeah.
don't know what he's doing
Got
right. But like,
good jump.
you want to talk about a guy that will give you something a little extra that we didn't have before? Boom. He's right there. 24 years old. There's a future here, Marshall, where we just make our outfield Justin Crawford, Rincones, Brandon Marsh. What is
Why not?
Would that not be electric? I don't know if you win a World Series doing that, but it would be really fun to watch.
Be fun to watch, or miserable to watch, Jake. You never know. They get
Or
up the plate.
miserable.
They cannot hit
Could be
anything. But we love a good storyline, and these guys are providing you a good storyline. It just feels like I don't know, the rest of these guys outside of Tucker that we talked about are kind of known quantities that are not going to bolster your lineup in a significant way.
Right.
So again, go back to it, keep going back to it. What is your philosophy? What do you want to do this year, Jake? Do you really think in 2026 that the Phillies are going to have a significant chance to win the World Series? That's a question for you.
Yeah. But you know what's funny? It's a vicious cycle because who you bringing back? How much money you giving me? Who can I go get?
Mm-hmm.
Because this free agent market feels really odd. It's like every position's got a guy. There's one.
Yeah.
You gonna go pay the money because that guy knows he's the guy. Tucker knows. Kyle Schwarber.
He's getting that contract.
He's the guy.
Yeah.
And Pete Alonso at first base. He knows he's the guy.
Kyle's and Pete's are getting paid.
Right. If your name's Kyle and you are in the MLB, congrats. Because that's what happens. You just make a bunch of money. And that's why, the Dodgers win because the Dodgers have said, oh, the luxury tax? Cool. I don't care about that. Like that's why they've won.
Yep.
And listen, money doesn't exactly buy you championships in the MLB, but it gets you there. It
It
gets
kind of
you.
does, Jake. And you know what?
Yeah.
This is, I play MLB The Show all the time. For people at home who play MLB The Show, it's just the best game. But
Yeah.
if you go on and look at the MLB The Show cards, right, for the active rosters on the Dodgers right now,
Right.
it fills up like there are 8 cards in the top. All of them are diamonds.
Yeah.
Shohei, Mookie. I mean, just go down the
Will
line.
Smith. I mean,
Will
yeah.
Smith, Freeman, all these guys, like Yamamoto, of course.
Right.
Like
Blake Snell. I mean,
Blake
yeah,
Snell,
like
they're playing with the absolute
dramatic zoom.
they're playing with the absolute, like, it's a god squad out there, right?
Yeah.
They get anybody they want at any time. You know what? Maybe the Phillies need to take that mentality on a little bit, right?
Like that's if you want
to win.
If you said, Jake, what do we got to do to win the World Series in 2026? I'd tell you we got to spend some money, baby.
Yeah.
And that's all there is to it. You got to go get either Tucker or Schwarber, and then you got to go get JT, and then you got to go get Ranger Suarez, and then you got to go get a bullpen arm, and then probably one more piece. That's what I'd tell you. And
that's a lot. So that's a lot.
That's a lot of money. I'm not paying it, so I don't care. But Mr. Middleton probably cares a little.
He's gonna care.
So yeah, Mr. Middleton, if you're listening, open up that purse, baby.
Well then, Jake, what do you think is the most likely outcome? Okay, first of all, let's do this 2 ways. One, what would you like to see happen in right field? And number 2,
okay,
what is the most likely thing to happen in right field?
Okay, I'm going to answer that not as a fan demanding a World Series ring. I'm going to answer that as a fan who enjoys watching most Phillies games. Like I will watch a lot of Phillies games. I would love to see us call up Crawford and put Marsh in right. That's what I would like to see.
Yep.
Obviously you're not spending any money there. You can reallocate those resources for JT, Schwarber, Suarez, or another starter. That's what I want to see.
Okay.
What I think will happen is I think the reason I went so heavy on those like middling guys, I think we do that again. Because that's what they did last year. They went out and got Max Kepler. Max Kepler is Starling Marte and Randall Grichuk and Lane Thomas. That's what that kind of move is.
Right.
It's a guy that he's a known commodity.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you're going to get. He's probably not going to win you anything by himself.
Right.
That's what I think is going to happen here. I don't like that. That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah. I think they throw caution to the wind, and I think they sign Kyle Tucker, and I think they sign Kyle Schwarber, and I think they bring back Bader on a better deal, and I think they bring back JT, and they just say, you know what? We're going to give you 15-year contracts. We'll pay you in 10. Here you go.
Money's fake. It's monopoly money. I don't care. Marshall, I say this a lot. I don't think you're right. But boy, do I hope you are. Boy, do I hope so.
Well, hey, we have got a busy week ahead of us here with the Eagles in the link again, finally getting a night game against the Lions. Excited to watch that one and excited to break down what's next week. What's the next position we have next week for these Phillies?
Well, so maybe we'll head to left, but I will withhold my answer and see if there's any like current events we can snag.
Got it.
And jump off from there. But if not, if all is calm, we'll go to left field. How about that?
Going to left field potentially next week. We will see you then. We're excited to talk about whatever the outcome is. Let's hope Jake is wrong, as he has been often.
As always, listen. Forecasting is a fickle bird, Marshall. It never really does.
It is. And we follow some fickle birds, Jake. So
yeah, amen.
For the love of Broad Street, we'll see you next week.